the channel. I'm Taye and we're locked in. This is All American episode 11 and a lot has happened. We got the kids off to college now. We know we got JJ over there with the beach house. Spencer done turned down some, some sponsorships, some endorsements. But now we got to get in the rhythm. Last week it was 6 a.m. We were getting adapted to all the practice times and how to manage our schedule with school. And here we are this week trying to bounce back, getting prepared because school is starting. So how are the kids going to adapt to this? But before we jump into this, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of it, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now we're moving forward. Billy has a lot on his plate also. He needs to figure out what is he going to do with this principal spot. Is he going to really hold it down? Mind you, he's just an intern, meaning he's not the full-time principal. So let's jump into it. This is episode 11 of All American. Now you remember everybody has basically moved into the Baker's house. Coop and Patience because they got screwed over in their little contract. They here, Layla's here, of course Liv is here, and look at Mama Baker. Laura got the curls in her hair. She's dealing with black girls, but she's like, oh man, it's just so many girls here. Now Laura, she's not even getting to use her own bathroom. The girls are taking her clothes. It's just nonstop. Busy house. Now we see our man Billy is on his best behavior. Oh babe, you look good. Which tie should I wear? But he gets about the way. He actually wanted some cereal, but the girls, they didn't throw it all away because we only eating healthy over here. The ladies gotta watch their figure. I'm talking about the house is packed over there. Luckily for the boys, they're at the beach house with JJ, and he's into yoga now, going outside, getting right. Spencer's over here eating up a storm because he got to get ready for practice. So does our boy Jordan. Billy pulls up on the boys just to say what's up to them. Also to get away from all them women in the house. You know how that can get. Now he gets there. Spencer's like, hey, I got to head out because they releasing that depth chart. And we got to see if all that work's paid off. So Spencer's out and Billy's looking at it. Jordan, did you take this cereal from the house? He looking like, yeah. Now Spencer is acting like Tariq from Power. He's running all around the campus. This guy didn't even look at his schedule and go actually look at the campus and see where his classes are going to be. Now he's supposed to be going, I think he said chemistry, but he's in like advanced molecular biology. He's looking around. Yeah, you're late. You better get to your next class. Now also, Billy was asking Spencer, is Preach a good person to have at the school? And he's like, yeah, man, if it wasn't for him, Coop probably wouldn't even be here. So he's up there and he's trying to fill in to be one of the coaches just so he can have something to do to keep him occupied. Now, you got to remember, he a two-time loser coming out the penitentiary. Well, I won't call him a loser, but you know what I mean. He got 2 strikes coming up out that penitentiary. You're not really supposed to be on campus. So the first thing that Billy has him do, because if you're going to be a coach, you got to actually teach. So he's going to be like the study hall teacher for the football players. Now, he's telling Preach, look, this ain't as easy as you think. A lot of people can't handle that. He said, man, I went to prison. Now, the old person that was in there was an ex-military person. Priest said, don't worry about it, Billy. I got it. All I got to do is go in there and introduce myself. And, of course, all the kids in there, they listening. Well, when you're on the sports team, you're going to pay attention to whoever's up there because you're getting kicked out of class. You're going to pay for it in practice. The 2 twins are meeting on campus, and they're like, doesn't this remind us of Beverly Hills all over again? Yeah, whatever. But Liv, she's looking for Spence. They supposed to be meeting up for snack time. And Jordan is saying, well, he may have went. They putting out the depth chart. Now, we also know that at this point, Liv is a sponsor to a young lady named Jen. But she gets a phone call from the mom because she hasn't heard from Jen. And also, we don't even know where Spencer is at. Well, Spencer's in the locker room looking at the depth chart. Now, you remember young boy when he was at the All-American game? Yeah, well, he actually made the depth chart. He's third. Isaiah Winfield, 5'11", 190. Spencer's name is not on here. He's like, man, what the hell? What? Gotta work harder, Spencer. Isaiah over here dapping everybody up. He third on the depth chart. He talking about, hey, Spence, don't worry about it, man. You'll get it, man. It's still early in the season. Now, mind you, they just got to campus. They probably don't even have their first game till like next week or something. But Spencer, he's losing it now because he did not make the depth chart. Now, Spencer's outside and he's trying to call the coach that actually recruited him to the school. Now, Coach Garrett is over here with Isaiah and they over there, they laughing it up. You third on the depth chart and you a freshman? Oh, yeah, you working. Now, of course, Liv, she's overreacting. Now, they haven't heard where Jen is at and she's thinking she may have relapsed because her mom called her. She also needs Spencer in a time of need, so she's been calling him. He's been in there upset. He sees the coach talking to Isaiah like they all buddy, and Jordan's like, hey, just chill down. Let's try to find Jen. We know Layla's been working her butt off with her record label. We also know that Coop ain't been doing nothing, so she's branched out. We know that she was messing with the producer, and he hooked her up with this other lady. So now she actually showed up, and Layla thought she was just talking. You know how it is. Hey, we're going to get up. We're going to work sometime. Well, she actually showed up to the studio. Let's try to get some work in. Now, JJ's been putting in work. He's out here playing. We know Asher can't play football right now. You remember Coach Montez of Beverly Hills? Well, her husband is actually a college coach. And JJ's like, look, Asher, I'm going to introduce you to him, and let's see if we can get you a coaching job, or at least like an assistant to the assistant coach. Coach Montez knows Asher because he was playing, helping out Coach with his wife in high school. So he's like, I heard about you, you know what I'm saying? Good to hear about that. But I'm about to start practice. Take this tablet and go over, our highlight game that we had. And just tell me what you see, anything that sticks out there. So basically what he's trying to do is get a feel of Asher's knowledge of the game and see if he can actually break down college footage better than he can high school footage. Of course, Grace comes in here and rains on our boy Billy's parade. He in there chilling, got all the keys on him, just jangling them. Man, this principal thing ain't that bad. And she's like, what is Preach doing here? I told you guys he's a convicted felon. He can't be on school grounds, but it's at the discretion of the principal, and that's Billy. But Grace lets him know you're just intern. So whenever the new principal comes, and there's going to be a new principal, it's going to be change. Don't get Preach's hopes up, because he's probably not going to be able to stay on campus. Now, while Layla's in the studio, she's listening to the tracks, and she's like, okay, Layla, these beats, they sound like Swiss Beats and Timbaland. I want that sound. You wrote for Patience, didn't you? You see, that's what's unique about you. You got your own sound and your own flavor. Don't try to be anybody else. If we're going to work together, I want to work with you. That's all she wants. She wants the authentic Layla. So give me some of that. What you did for Patience, I want some of that. I want you. I don't want to hear nobody else. We working together. Now, Spencer goes to confront Coach Kenny, the one that actually brought Spencer to the school. Now, Coach Garrett shows up and he's like, what's up, Spencer? He said, I worked my butt off to get on this depth chart. He said, well, you know what? Isaiah is a better player than you. The only reason you're here on a scholarship is because Coach Kenny said he wouldn't come unless I brought you on. So now Coach Kenny is acting like, damn, my bad, Spence. Spencer, just be happy you got a scholarship. Now you got to work. You can't be upset. You got your foot in the door. Asher shows up and he's trying to say, okay, this is what I seen, Coach. He was doing this, and with the passing, it wasn't too accurate, but with this, we got to do this. Coach Montez looked at him and said, no, Asher, keep watching. Keep watching. Jordan and Liv, they go to look for Jen. Now, Spencer is calling, trying to, call back. Liv is like, oh, hang up. Don't you answer that. We out. Like, dang, I thought you wanted to talk to Spence. Now, they sit down and talk with Jen, and they're asking her, where have you been? You're not responding to anybody. And the thing is, she skipped school because we know that she's been, she was an addict. She was addicted. But she doesn't want to be around the people that could potentially make her relapse. Everyone she was doing drugs with are at school, so she wanted to avoid them. And you hear Jordan say, this sounds kind of familiar. That's because this is what Liv was going through, and this is why Liv is a sponsor. Now, Jen, they're trying to walk her through it, and they're just saying, have you this little sundae, some ice cream. We got the little cherries on the top, but relax. You can get through this. Just take it one day at a time. Preach in here, he holding it down in study hall. Now, he's talking about how Shakespeare relates to hip hop. Well, that's really all it is poetry. So he gives out a couple of bars from Shakespeare, a couple of bars from Lupe, and he's asking them which one is it. And of course, they're getting it wrong. They don't know which is which. Now, you remember our boy over here, he's the one that stole the trophy, so he needs to be in study hall. Now, there's a fight in the hallway. Preach tells everybody, sit down. Y'all be still. I'll go handle it. Now, I'm looking at the two dudes out here fighting. This is a horrible fight. This guy over here ain't throwing no hands. He ain't ready for nothing. This guy still got his book bag on, so they really wasn't out there fighting. They were probably just yanking on each other's shirt. But Billy comes out here, and you see Preach. He has things under control. And he's telling Billy, let me handle it. Don't take him to the office and punish him. Let him come into study hall with me. Pretty much just sit them down. Because, they were fighting over something petty probably. And you don't want to get them suspended over fighting. So Billy's like, you handle this, you mean like handle it, right? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got him. So that's one thing I do respect about Preach. Now, Patience is going back to the Baker house. I wouldn't have had all these people going in and out of my house, especially if I lived in Beverly Hills. But that's neither here or there. You remember the detective that showed up the night that Coop was shot? Well, he shows up and he's questioning Patience. Hey, what do you know about that night? Where's Coop at? What do you think happened that night? Do you have any information? We need some information. Where's Coop at? Now, Laura hears this and she's like, wait a minute, detective. What are you talking to my client for? So what she did was take on Patience so the police couldn't talk to her without a lawyer. And that's why I always say, never talk to the police unless you have a lawyer present. Now, Coach Montez, he's still trying to see what Asher knows. He's just, poking at him, see what he can extract from him, see if he's actually paying attention. But you hear Asher start to say, you got to change your approach. If it hasn't worked one way, or if you had success one way, you need to change it up. Attack from a different side, go a little bit harder, change your focus. And this whole time we see Spencer working out, because this is what's going on with Spencer. You may have had success in high school, but now you're in college. You got to take a different approach to it. You got to be more determined. Now, Laura, she just became Patience's lawyer. Now, she needs to at least give her $1. You got to pay her, but she's probably doing it pro bono. Not me. But she's telling Patience, look, you need to tell me everything you can. Now, we know Coop is gone right now. She's on a trip with her father, and it's the first time they can bond. So Laura is saying, tell me everything you know, and I'll let you know when we need to panic. But as of right now, I just need to know so I'm not caught off guard with anything. Now, Patience isn't in any trouble. She don't know what happened at the shooting. I mean, she does technically because Coop told her. But other than that, you're good. You shouldn't have to panic. It's Coop that needs to be the one worried. Now, Billy heard from Grace that don't hype up Preach because he could potentially be gone when a new principal comes. But he's coming out and he's saying, Billy, you're doing a good job on the first day. Billy said, you too. And what he's doing is telling Billy being the principal is kind of like being a head coach. You know what I'm saying? The teachers, that's your coaching staff. And then the students, those are your players. Now, Billy, he's getting he's getting attached to Preach because he sees that Preach is actually getting to these young men. And that's normally what you need. You need them to see somebody like them, see someone that may have went down the wrong path. And that's going to keep them on the straight and narrow. Well, at least 85 to 95% of them. Now, Spencer finally gets through to Liv. We know that she's up at the cafe and she's kind of upset. Oh, Spencer, what are you doing? You didn't come and have snacks with me. And when I needed you the most to go see Jen, you didn't answer your phone. And Spencer's like, I'm in football. I didn't make the roster. I'm here on a scholarship. I got to work hard. So she's getting upset about nonsense. You guys are in college now. You got to understand you're adults. You might not be able to make these little snack sessions. He's over here working because he got to get ready for the game. And well, he ain't even in the game. He got to get ready for the practice squad. But he's kind of upset and he's frustrated too. So he throws his phone and hangs up like, well, won't you be with Jen then? So this is their first official real argument. Back in the studio, she's asking Layla, what exactly do you want? We're listening to these beats, but what do you want? And Layla says, I want an empire. But she's saying, I can sense that you're kind of hesitant to be a female producer in the game. You're like, you don't want that rejection. You're going to build an empire. And what we're going to do is I'm going to work with you. And this is going to be your big collaboration. This is going to put you in the game. But I want you to be you, Layla. Have that confidence. It's not going to be easy, but I'm here to help you. Always remember, people, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Just like with Spencer, you got your foot in the door. You got to take it because opportunity only knocks once. And when you get that chance, you got to seize the moment. Spencer gets to the house. Asher's over here watching footage and stuff. And Spencer's saying, man, I don't know what to do, man. This stuff is tough. And Asher's saying, I know how it was. I was doing the same thing in high school. You took my spot. I had to work hard for it. And then you took both of my girlfriends, Liv and Layla, from me. So I know what's going on here. But he's telling Spencer there may be something. You might need to clear your head. You already heard Asher say you need to take a different approach to it. And the way to clear your mind is some yoga with JJ. Now he comes out here. He overhears bugs and stuff. You see JJ's relaxed. And he's telling them, you just got to be nimble. Don't fight the current. Even though you're swimming upstream, there's a big bear up there. But you got to be willing to go do it. Now, that's not JJ's exact words, but I'm not into yoga. So that's as good as it's going to get. Now, Billy goes over to Grace's house. And he's telling her that he actually likes this principal gig. Even though he's the intern, he's thinking about doing it full time. Now, Grace is saying, I don't know about that. Especially because we have somebody that lives down here in Crenshaw. They already teach at the school. So we have a lot of candidates. So Billy's hearing this and he's like, damn, I was really liking that gig. Grace, I guess she's doing the interviewing process, especially since old boy is gone. Hey, she got that insider information. But if you that intern principal, I'd go in there and look in the files. Who's applying for this job? Let me see if I'm overqualified. Now, Laura got Patience in here straight up snitching. Coop, she lied to the cops. I know what happened that night and it's bad. Now, Laura, she's listening to it. She's like, okay, dang. I wasn't expecting that. I knew Coop was bad. Definitely got to move Coop about the house. You know that's going through her head. Like, we got this big ass house and we got Coop up in here and she was lying to the police about a murder. Interesting. Now, of course, Billy pops back up because he can't go a day without consulting Spencer. Hey, Spence, what do you think about this? And Spencer's actually giving us some advice. Even though he knows what Spencer was going through, especially trying to make the roster, Billy's been there before. Billy went to college. Billy went to the pros. So he understands what it takes to get to that next level. And all he wanted to do was just check on Spencer because he treats Spencer like a son also. But Spencer is good, and he also gave Billy some yoga tips. Now, Billy comes home and he talks to Laura, and he's like, yeah, I'm really digging this principal thing. But I heard that Grace said they already got a candidate that lives in Crenshaw. Now, she was in here looking up Mo Moore's, murder online. But she closes that up. And she's saying, well, if you really want to be the principal, we can move to GW's house and we can live in Crenshaw. And he's like, you really want to give up all of this and move to Crenshaw, South L.A.? I'm selling this house. I'm not letting the kids stay in here. Let me tell you that. But Laura and Billy, we know that they had their ups and downs. They separated for a little bit, but she's supporting them. He's like, well, thank you. You getting sexier by the moment. Ooh. Now, of course, they got all these girls at the house, and this is why Billy didn't want to come home. But Layla comes in and she's hyped. She wants to tell them the good news about her working in the studio, but she can tell that she's kind of interrupted. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna let y'all know though, but we got something big on our hands. Spencer used Jordan for his help to get Liv over to the house. Now, she didn't want to go over here because she was already upset and they had their argument. Well, my boy has a little picnic set up on the beach. I'm talking about setting the mood. Now, they both get together and they start apologizing for what they did. Spencer knows he has a lot on his plate with football. She knows that she had a lot of things, and he apologized for not trying to take out that time to make for her. And that's all you have to do. I tell y'all all the time, conversation rules the nation. If you can have that talk, you can 9 times out of 10 talk your way through things and get to the other side. Now, these two, this is their first official fight. And you know what Liv said? Time for some makeup sex. Asher goes to talk to Coach Montez, and he's like, what's going on? What do you see here? And he's saying, well, the quarterback, he isn't planting his foot all the way, so his throws aren't going through. And the coach is saying, yeah, he was hurt. Now, it was my job to find that, and I didn't. My job is also to protect the players. Now, he tells Asher straight up, I don't have any coaching jobs, but I do, basically an equipment manager, have a spot for somebody that can wash the jerseys. And Asher takes it. Because he knows he needs to fight. Just like he told Spencer, you got to face adversity and climb to where you want to get. And since he can't play, you start off washing jerseys. You work your way up to an assistant, equipment manager, assistant team, get on special teams, and you work your way to that spot and you can start building up your coaching resume. Now, Billy, the next day, he comes and tells Preach, hey, I see you, bro. Preach actually put down a little button on, a little button down on. Got to get right. Some people were complaining about it. But Billy told him, as long as I'm the principal, you got you a spot here. Keyword, as long as he's the principal. Now, if they hire somebody else, they might say, nah, we got to get him gone. But he's not hyping Preach up. He literally said, as long as I'm principal. So if he has to step down, damn, Preach. Now, Spencer goes and he apologizes to the coach. I shouldn't have came at you like that. I'm going to watch some game film a little bit later on. I'm going to get focused. I'm going to hit these weights. I'm going to do everything I can to earn that spot. And the coach is saying, well, we can go watch some film right now. I like that. I'd find some time for you to help you out. But Spencer, what did he just tell Liv last night? I'm going to make sure, I manage my time. I'm going to be able to find time for you also. Now, they got the triumphant music playing in the background. He goes outside and meets up with his girl. They holding hands. They about to go to snack time. And Liv says she looked like a snack. Now, you remember Laura told Patience, you don't have to, you don't have to worry until I tell you. Now, Laura has some old DA friends, and it turns out they actually got some incriminating evidence on Coop, and Coop needs to return right now. There you go, episode 11 of All American. First, I want to know, what do you guys think is the evidence they have on Coop? Is it her pulling the gun, or is it her lying like they got footage and they seen Preach? Let me know what you guys think. I'm Mo.J. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.